While the Premier League is home to some glorious footballers, pure goal scorers, exquisite dribblers and beautiful passers, it also has its fair share of shithouses. Those players who live for committing fouls and are no stranger to a yellow or red card. With the season now over, let's look at all 20 Premier League clubs, including the 3 relegated sides, and pick out each team's dirtiest player. Arsenal, Granit XHAKA. Absolute no-brainer here, Granit XHAKA is the dirtiest player at Arsenal, picking up 10 yellow cards this season and committing 57 fouls, more than 20 more than the second place Hector Bellerin, who committed a mere 36. XHAKA has had a rough 2 years so far as a gunner and has proven to be more of a liability than a match winner. Maybe a new manager can get XHAKA to clean up his act, or at least try and teach him how to tackle. Bournemouth, Simon Francis. You wouldn't associate Bournemouth with being a dirty team. Eddie Howe is a lovely young man who teaches his team to play beautiful football in the right way and wouldn't hurt a fly, but we've had to pick someone, so it's Simon Francis, who picked up 6 yellow cards and Bournemouth's only red card of the season. Francis got his marching orders for 2 yellows on the stroke of half time against Huddersfield Town in November, but it made no difference as the Cherries went on to win 4-0. Brighton, Glenn Murray. The veteran striker's had a fantastic season in front of goal, scoring 12 goals for the Seagulls as they avoided relegation, but as well as scoring goals, the 34-year-old has been throwing his weight around, picking up 9 yellow cards and committing a whopping 60 fouls, the 3rd highest in the division all season. Obviously a lot of Premier League defenders have felt the wrath of Glenn Murray's elbows. Burnley, Ashley Barnes. Speaking of dirty target men, we come to Ashley Barnes, who is arguably the king of shithousery up front for Sean Dyche's Clarets. Barnes betters Murray's tally with 10 yellow cards, but has only committed 53 fouls throughout the season, which is surprisingly low when you watch the way the striker deals with centre-backs when he's got his back to goal. Barnes seems to foul his opponents at any opportunity, and his performances away from home immediately turn him into the pantomime villain, who'll cheer with glee when the Austrian finally gets penalised for his actions. Chelsea, Teemu Bakayoko. It's been a disaster of a season for Teemu Bakayoko, who cost £40 million for Monaco last summer. But when the Blues signed the French midfielder, I'm sure they were expecting a lot more from him. In the Champions League for Monaco, Bakayoko was a titan in the middle of the park, but at Stamford Bridge, he's been a huge waste of space. Not only has he performed poorly, but he's probably Chelsea's dirtiest player, committing 50 fouls, picking up 3 yellow cards and 1 red. While the number of cards aren't a worry, maybe Bakayoko needs to watch N'Golo Kante a little bit more closely to learn how to win the ball properly and not commit a bucket load of fouls. Crystal Palace, Luka Milivojevic. He may have been one of Crystal Palace's heroes alongside Wilfried Zaha, but Milivojevic went about his business very differently to the flying forward, who used his skill and pace to dazzle the Selhurst Park crowd. As for Milivojevic, he went for a more robust approach, getting 8 yellow cards and committing 69 fouls throughout the season, which is the highest in the league. Therefore, Luka Milivojevic is the dirtiest player in the Premier League. If there's a foul to give away, he'll do it, no questions asked. Everton, Idrissa Gana Gueye. No surprises here, an industrious player like Idrissa Gueye is always going to find himself on the wrong side of the law throughout the season, and it's a necessary part of the midfielder's game. Only Tom Davies bettered Gueye's tally of 6 yellow cards in an Everton shirt, but the former Villa man also got himself sent off and committed 50 fouls at the centre of the Toffees midfield that sadly had a softer centre than in years gone by. Huddersfield Town, Jonathan Hogg. Any player who can recover from a broken neck as quick as Jonathan Hogg has to be pretty hard, and that's shown with the midfielder proving to be David Wagnall's shithouse in the centre of midfield. 8 yellow cards and a red, Hogg hasn't been afraid to put his foot in during the Terrier survival chase, which actually proved to be successful. Will they be able to do it again next season? Who knows, but one thing is for sure, and that's that Jonathan Hogg will remain Huddersfield Town's dirtiest player. Unless they sign Roy Keane or something. Leicester City, Wilfred NDIDI. Just like most of the players on this list, Leicester's dirtiest player comes from the centre of midfield, with the energetic Wilfred Ndidi committing more fouls than any other Foxes player, 60, which is the joint 3rd highest in the league. Ndidi also has 2 red cards to his name, but he probably should have got a 3rd because his reaction to the first one he got was a criminal offence. He looked like he'd just been told what happened at the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones. Liverpool, Roberto Firmino. Dirty might not be the right word to describe Roberto Firmino, although his tussle with Mason Holgate was pretty entertaining, so we'll call the forward industrious. With Klopp's high-intensity football, the pressing starts from the front and Firmino is sublime in the defensive forward role, but is often punished for his enthusiasm, giving away 57 fouls during the campaign that also saw the Brazilian score 15 Premier League goals. Manchester City, Fernandinho. The football Man City have played this season has been very easy on the eye, a glorious thing to behold. unless it's your team that's being ripped apart by them, but they've also got a mean streak in them as they look to suffocate their opponents with their high pressing style. Fernandinho is the muscle in the centre of the park for City, and he's never been afraid to stick his foot in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The Brazilian won 62 challenges this season, but also conceded 41 fouls. To be fair, it's not that high, but that's mainly because City have had the ball all season pretty much. Manchester United, Marouane Fellaini. Let's be honest, this one's easy. Marouane Fellaini flings his elbows around any time he's on the pitch. Maybe it looks worse because the Belgian is so much bigger than his opponents, but you just know as soon as that ball is heaved into the box that one of Man United's opponents is going to be sprawled on the floor clutching a head injury. And most of the time the replays will prove that Fellaini had his arms swinging while trying to get his big afro onto that massive cross. Newcastle United, HAYDEN. While Gareth Southgate will probably tell you that it's John Joe Shelby who is the Magpies' dirtiest player, if there's one lad in Newcastle who loves a meaty tackle, it's HAYDEN, and he can usually be a safe bet to pick up the first yellow card, providing he's playing of course. Hayden was a key player in the championship for Benitez, but has been involved far less in the top flight, but still found time to pick up 7 yellow cards, more than any other player in black and white. Southampton, Oriol Romeu. The Saints narrowly avoided relegation from the Premier League this season, but one table they did top is the individual yellow cards honours, with Oriol Romeu picking up more than any other player in the Premier League with 11. On top of that, he committed 53 fouls, which is not what you expect from a Barcelona youth product. Stoke City, Joe Allen. The Potters went down this season and lacked fight at times, but you couldn't ever question Joe Allen's desire to keep Stoke in the Premier League. The Welsh midfielder was a busy character all over the pitch, but sometimes he would get there a bit too late. Allen picked up 8 yellow cards and racked up 49 fouls, but I suppose that's better than some of his Stoke teammates who weren't even fighting for the shirt. Swansea City, Jordan Ayew. Another relegated player, it's highly unlikely that Jordan Ayew will get a move back to another Premier League club next season, and if he does, you really need to question that club's recruitment process. Younger brother of Andre, little Jordan just isn't bringing anything to the party, and to make matters worse, he's somewhat of a liability, committing 63 fouls, the second highest in the division. Tottenham Hotspur, Dele Alli. We all know about the edge in Dele Alli's game, and it's something he needs to thrive, with his temperament and audacity sometimes his biggest attribute. But come on, sometimes the midfielder is just a right shithouse. Be it with his dives or schneid tackles, Dele Alli's a full-blooded player, which you probably would have hated in school, because you never knew if he was going to try and nutmeg you or kick you. Watford, Abdoulaye Doucouré. A man in demand this summer, Abdoulaye Doucouré has had the best season of his career at Vicarage Road, but his midfield performances came at a price, picking up 10 yellow cards and committing 44 fouls. But his discrepancies aside, it's been a fantastic year for Doucouré, begging the question, will he actually be a Watford player next season? West Brom, James McLean. The Republic of Ireland winger is not a popular figure in the Premier League, and to be fair, he doesn't care. He's always wanted to soak up the booze and take any opportunity he can to wind up opposition fans with his antics. As well as being a wind-up, McLean can be a bit of a dirty bugger too, always partial to a massively late and dangerous tackle on his opponents, only to be shocked when the referee gives him a booking. And finally, West Ham United, Mark Noble. He's Mr West Ham, and Mark Noble is a rough lad in the middle of the park despite his ageing legs and diminutive stature. Whether it's Paul Pogba or his own fans, Mark Noble is willing to take on anyone whenever he's donning the captain's armband at West Ham, and throughout the season he's picked up 6 yellow cards and gave away 28 fouls, which actually isn't that many considering how riled up he can get. Get him on the plane, Gareth, we need that kind of passion. So that's every Premier League club's dirtiest player. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.